Do you know the difference between marketing and branding? This is so important for 2024. And I realize there are so many digital entrepreneurs, small business owners, founders out here who don't understand the differences between those two. And it makes all the difference when it comes to you getting success in your business. So let's just dive in and start to show you what that actually looks like. So let's go high level from a principal perspective. Marketing is short term. So when you think of marketing, I want you to think of advertising. So, what is somebody offering in their campaign to say, hey, are you the kind of person who needs this service? Click this link to buy it now. That's what marketing is. And a lot of people call that direct response marketing. What branding looks like is different. It is long term. So it's more like this. Hey, are you this kind of person? You should follow me because I'm going to teach and train a lot more on XYZ topics. And these are the value systems that we believe in. So, one thing is a magnet that creates a fan base and awareness over a period of time. So that's brand awareness is what is this brand? Who is this leader? Who is the founder? What are they selling? What is the problem that they're talking about? It's just learning it at a really topical level. Think of it a lot like when you go to a party. Let's say you go to a housewarming party and there's 50 people there. So you're probably not going to meet all 50 people, but you're probably going to meet, let's say, 30 people on average for a 50-person party. Or I don't know, maybe that's me. I'm extroverted, actually really highly extroverted. So I would actually probably meet all 50. But let's just say an average person is going to meet 30 out of the 50 people. You're going to get to know names and faces, some geographic locations. Hey, how are you? Oh, you have a kid who's 6. I have a kid who's 6. What school does your kid go to? Oh, my friend's kid goes there, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get those kind of topical information on people. And so if you met that same person at another party, you would have what's brand recall because you had brand awareness on who they are. This is what marketing looks like. You're at the same party, you meet someone, you guys just can't stop talking to each other. You're like obsessed with each other. I know I've been in environments before where I've gone to like networking events or I've gone to mastermind events where I'm learning something and I'll meet someone and I swear to God, we are like vibrationally on the same level. And our core values are aligned, at least 80% of them. And then we start to even like sound like we're synchronized to one another. That's the kind of feeling when you feel like you've already known someone for a really long time. That's more marketing because with that person, you're going to develop a faster friendship where it makes it feel like you've known the person a lot longer than you really have. I call them quantum leaps of friendship of like, I don't know how we know each other only a year because I feel like I've known you 10 years. And what happens with that type of friendship is you might meet them at the same housewarming party, but from there, you are already making plans to have a play date with your kids, or you want to bring your husbands or wives together. Or maybe you've already set a date on the calendar to say, oh, we're going to get together and have lunch again because we just hit it off so well. And actually, we've got some common business ideas and she might have clients for me or I might have clients for her and we're looking for ways to collaborate. So that becomes really quick. That's marketing. Marketing is like, I'm ready to go. Here's where I'm at. So here's the coolest thing is you need both together in your business. But oftentimes, if you know how to do marketing, you will under leverage branding. And if you're great at branding, you will under leverage marketing. And so you need both and. So one of the principles I believe in the world is that there are way too many false dichotomies out there. Let's define what false dichotomy is. A false dichotomy is thinking it's either or. It's either this or that. I'm either making a lot of money in my business or I am completely broke and there's no opportunities for the future. It's if I become rich, someone else becomes poor. It is because something is black, something else has to be white. And we miss all of the gray in these conversations and nuance. Making things be opposite of each other is an easy way for the brain to remember and compartmentalize things to say it's left or right. But as we know, most things in life are not that cleanly distinguished. Look at nature, right? Like is nature really, really clear on where something starts and where something ends. There's a lot more blurred lines. So when you start to think of your world in terms of both and is what the principle is called, it makes so much more sense when you're working on your business. So do you need systems and processes? Yes. Do you also need amazing team who feels motivated and inspired by your mission and vision? Yes. So you need both and. Do you need cash flow? Yes. Do you also need to make sure that you are staying focused on your product and improving that product, which is going to take away from some of that cash flow? Yes. So in a lot of instances, when you look at these two situations and you've compartmentalize things separately, they need to be pulled together. A common example I use of that is a lot of times people are like, well, I'm an introvert or I'm an extrovert. And I think that those are false labels. I don't think that's true. As an extreme extrovert, I will tell you firsthand, when I go to an event or a party, it is like, whoosh, like, I don't know what it is about my personality that's magnetizing. People call me the light of the room. I get that compliment a lot. And I've literally had to look it up before. But that attraction to people towards me, I get exhausted, y'all, at events. Like, I am exhausted. So not only before I go to the event, people are like, when are you going? When did you book your flight? What hotel are you staying at? Can we get an Airbnb? Do you want to get breakfast? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from the conversation before I even get there. And I think a lot of times people look to extroverts to be like this abundance of never ending energy. That's not actually true. So when I'm at an event, I actually have to take moments of time, step away. Sometimes I get my own hotel and won't stay at an Airbnb because I just can't handle the amount of hangout time. Or I'll be like, where are we going to dinner? Are you coming to the dinner with us? Are you going to come hang with us afterward? And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing 75 hard or whatever. And I have to like back myself out of the situation. So am I extroverted? Yes. Do I still have introvert needs? Yes. We're all on a spectrum. So back to marketing and branding is going to create your long-term client base, followership, audience, and people that are raving and talking about you. Like Jeff Bezos says, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So do you want speaking engagements? Do you want to be paid and give a keynote? Do you want to launch a podcast? Or, I mean, a lot of times getting on people's podcasts is an amazing strategy. So right now, my personal brand is like up and to the right, like just like blowing up. I'm on 1 to 2 podcasts a week as a guest. That doesn't even count the people that I interview on my own podcast, which, by the way, you're watching this. It's called Own Your Brand, and we have a podcast tab, so you should go check that out. It's absolutely amazing. We've had some amazing guests like Dan Martell, his wife Renee Warren, my good friend Taylor Welch. Like, we're just getting like amazing people. You should definitely go check those out. I love interviewing people. So it's actually funny to be on this side of the camera because I think one of my zones of genius is just to ask other people the questions. So when you look at that, that's what the brand opportunities create for you. If you want to launch a book, if you want an audience who ends up buying the book, then you're looking at brand. You're looking at how do you get people to talk about you? How do you get people to follow you? Then once they follow you, how do you actually keep them engaged? So people are so obsessed with that like follower number on top. And I'm like not into that at all. I think that that is one of those vanity metrics that doesn't really matter. I think you should be much more focused on what is the proportion of engagement. So for example, at the time of this filming, I have like 2,000 followers on Instagram and I could care less. My main platform is actually Facebook. And here I am on YouTube. So it really doesn't matter, right? So what matters though is that like when I'm on Instagram, some people will be like, well, who are you to talk about personal brand when you only have 2K followers? And I'm like, well, I have a pretty impressive business and we've helped hundreds of world-class entrepreneurs grow their small businesses into brands, people who are multi-6-figure all the way up and past multi-8 figures, but who's counting? And so having branded these enormous names, having a super attractive client base and having a 96% success rate on people who join our programs, being able to grow and create revenue from their brands, it's pretty impressive. And so there's an entire group of people who think personal brand is just social media. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true at all. Social media is one part of your branding umbrella, but there's a lot more pieces that are involved. It is social media content, it's your personal brand, it's your business brand, it is your any paid advertising that goes out about you, it's your email marketing. And an email marketer asked me the other day, "Do you think email marketing is a part of brand?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." It's your PR. What are your public relations? It's your reviews. It's what do people say about you? It is your market's perception of your product and what they believe and what they say about you to other people. That all of those things fall underneath brand, and of course your visual identity, your logos, your colors, and all the normal stuff that most people commonly associate with a brand. Marketing is actually the umbrella that's on top of branding. So if you look at marketing as a whole, if marketing is really big, underneath it is branding, copywriting, public relations, advertising, traffic sources. All of that is underneath marketing. Marketing is basically literally you taking your product, your service, your unique offering out to the marketplace. You are marketing the thing. So, what are you doing to let people know about what you're selling so they can decide, am I interested or do I want to learn more? That's marketing. So, that's a really wide stroke of what that covers. So, when you're thinking about like in the online world, you're thinking about, well, is that content creators? Yes. Is that your copywriting team? Yes. Who writes your VSL? Is that your funnel builders? Yes. Is that your media team? Is that your funnel strategist? Is that your digital marketing agency? Yes, 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 yes. So you see what I'm saying? Is that your brand strategist? And is that your graphic designer? It covers all. Is that your SEO specialist? Yes. Is that pay per click? Yes. Is that direct response copy? Yes. Is that direct mailers? Yes. Is that your signage? Yes. Is that your billboard? Yes, 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 yes. So I'm just kind of making this really, really clear for you to say there are some businesses that are clicks. And so they are like digital only, and all of their business is done online. They may not even have an office space. And I'm thinking of people who are like coaches and consultants, service providers, fitness pros who might have an online business, any of those kind of people who don't need a brick and mortar. Then you've got small business owners who have brick and mortar spaces. They actually have a physical space. So we're talking roofers, chiropractors, plastic surgeons, just any other small but interior designers, architects, and some financial planners, some lawyers are going to have some brick and mortar space where you can actually walk in and consult with them. So you have a lot of these other companies that have actual physical massage place. You can't get a massage online. Like you have to go to a masseuse. Acupuncture, you can't get that online. You're always going to have to go somewhere to get acupuncture done. And so those are actual places. Gym, actually, a lot of people have modified. They do programs online, but a lot of people, there's still always going to be a need for a gym. So there are those people that are brick and mortar. Doesn't matter if you are clicks, which is the online space, or you are bricks and you have brick and mortar, you are going to need marketing so you attract people to your services. The cool thing about branding is that within the brand space, you can use word of mouth. And what that means is word of mouth is people who follow your brand, who are raving fans of it, are telling other people about your brand. That's when they move from a raving fan to a brand evangelist. So they're going to the next level. A raving fan is giving you 5-star reviews and they're over the moon with your service and they're complimentary when they talk to you and they're a dream client. But a brand evangelist is when they take your service and they can't stop talking about it on their own social media. They tell other people about you. They tag you in posts. They introduce you in direct messenger, or they send people to your website, or they send people to any type of promotion you're doing, or they bring a customer in when they come in to do something. Like, that's a brand evangelist. And you want to spend a lot of time nurturing those folks up. So when you think about it, when you're putting together your budget of what are you going to spend in a year, you're going to want to think about, is this going to be a year where we're going to scale? So you're going to go big, you're going to go for the moon. Is it going to be a year that we grow? So usually scaling is something that you do when the team and the systems and everything is really in place. So you don't have to hire as many bodies when you have more fulfillment that comes through the door. And it doesn't matter what your fulfillment is. You could be a martial arts studio and you could add 20 students next month, but if you don't have to add any instructors, that means that you're able to scale. If it's an online coaching business, the model works a lot simpler to say, we already have all of the client success people in place, we have the program in place, we've already built out the course. Our community is kicking, whether it's on Circle, a Facebook group, or school. All of the tech infrastructure is there. So we could easily take on another 50 coaching students like starting next month, and there would be nothing that would have to change on our team. That's when you're at scale zone. If you're in growth mode, a normal percentage for a company to look to grow, a normal one, is somewhere between 20 and 25% is awesome growth for a company. So I know a lot of online companies back in 2020 were like really lauding the fact that they got 200%, 300%, 400% growth. But what they weren't explaining at that time is they were experiencing a COVID boom. So 2xing, 3xing, 4xing is, first of all, not normal at all. It's not an industry benchmark. Second of all, those people weren't really being honest about how their client fulfillment was going. So you've got to be able to be honest with yourself and your market on what is a reasonable number. So 20 to 30%, 30% is awesome. You're doing so great. If it's between 30 and 50%, wow. And if you're past 50%, hopefully you're in scale zone, not just growing. Otherwise, as you bring on more people or more clients or more services, you're going to have to add in just as much team to support that, and then put the infrastructure in place to be able to fulfill on what you said you were going to do, and then train. And that's where a lot of people end up not being profitable. So in summary, when you're looking at how do you evaluate your portfolio, you need to have marketing a part of it, but you should also be looking at, where is my brand consistently being worked on? And having a VA just doing your social media content is not enough. Content strategy is like now par for the course for any business that actually calls themselves world class. Like, you need to have a content like VA on your team. That's like a no-brainer. So you should at least be putting out 1 to 4 pieces of content a day, every single day. And then beyond that, you should be focusing either on one platform if you're just starting out and you're sort of getting the hang of things, or you should at least be on 2 platforms where you're starting to really get yourself more omnipresent, so your brand overall is getting awareness. So you need a brand strategist either on your team or fractionally serving you. That's like what we do with our clients. Like, our company launch is literally here. And with our clients, we know exactly what their business is, their offer is, their messaging, their positioning, their ideal client avatars, and also where are they going to get stuck. So I just met with a client earlier today, and he was talking about, hey, I'm looking at a new opportunity. I came up with a new offer. What do you think? And I told him, I was like, I think it's awesome that you have this new opportunity. And let me just pause, because this is really feeling like shiny object syndrome. And what is the problem we're looking to solve? So when you ask yourself this ninja question, what problem are we looking to solve? When you ask yourself that question, you get yourself hyper focused on what is the intended point of this discussion. And so for him, he just wanted an injection of cash flow. He was just looking to build up his war chest. And a war chest, by the way, is like a cash reserve that you keep on hand as a business owner to make sure, with any ups and downs that come with revenue or team or having to pay for things like taxes that were unexpected, you are good to go and you're covered. So that's what a war chest is. And so he wanted a cash flow injection. So I pointed out to him that, hey, that's really feeling like shiny object syndrome, and let me share with you why. So he had his main brand, but he had 2 other sub brands that we had built together. And so from there, I was like, hey, let's look at the brand strategy. And in your mind, I want you to imagine a chessboard in front of you. I'm like, what you're bringing up to me, which is a great idea, it's just the wrong sequence for it. So have you ever had that moment where you've had an amazing idea, but the timing was wrong? That's exactly what this person was doing. I know I've had that a million times over. I've been like, oh, I think it's so amazing, I should launch a new offer, thinking that launching a new offer was going to solve any of my cash flow problems moving forward. But what I didn't realize is that there was a temporary ingestion of cash flow that came into the business. But what about the long tail effect of now I have to fulfill on that? And now that requires different courses and different calls and different coaching and different messaging and content to my marketplace. Because as I'm doing this other new thing that's a shiny object and a new offer, what happened to my main offer? So, this is what they mean when they say a fox that chases two rabbits ends up with none. And that's because we don't realize it because we had the best intentions. Like I had the best intentions when I launched what that offer was going to be, but I didn't realize that I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. And when you start to see that, it's easier to notice it in other people. So back to the chessboard analogy. So if you've played chess, and I'm not even the best at it, but the analogy works, is when he came up with that new offer, which was sound, but again, the timing was wrong. That was like him trying to play with a pawn. And I'm like, listen, instead of playing with a pawn, how about we play with a queen instead? Because here's where I see the opportunity from you. So the fact that number one, I've helped hundreds of businesses with their brands, but I've helped thousands of people with their offers at this point in time. I saw that he has three different brands, and it was so simple to me to be able to see that brand two and three, we could just move them in the chessboard as like the queen and the bishop and just put them into play. After he saw that, he was like, oh my God, that's exactly what we were talking about doing, but we're still building it. And I was like, you're still building it, but you're actually ready to go now. So I know that you think that you need time, but I'm just here to remind you, you were already ready. So what we need here is not quality as much as we want to optimize for speed, because I already know their quality is there. They are just trying to take it from like 98% awesomeness to 99%. And those last 2 percentage points are outsized in terms of how much effort it takes to get those last 2 points built in. But from anybody who experiences their products and their stuff, they're like amazed at what these people do. So that's a very tangible and like an hour ago example, so very recent, of where in your own brands could you look at your own brands, or if you have one brand, look at where are your offers right now and what is something potentially that you could eliminate. So what this does is it creates addition through subtraction. So I think that there's so many gurus out here that are trying to treat a brand like you're supposed to make content all day. And I am not with that at all, for the record. You are too busy and you do not have enough time to act like you're Gary Vee. That is nonsense. So Gary Vee, if you're listening, that is not for a new entrepreneur, okay? He's an entire team of people, multiple brands, and hundreds of thousands of dollars on his content team. That does not work out for any entrepreneur who's like multi-seven figures and less, okay? So you have to have a Harmozy style content team to be able to do that, okay? What you should focus on instead is look at the different offers you have in the marketplace, and just overall, when you look at what I call as your offer stack, what is the one offer that you could remove that is 80% of the work? What is taking up 80% of your work but is only 20% worth it? And it's so interesting to me, the 80-20 rule, otherwise known as the Pareto principle. That rule is like this crazy thing in nature where once you see it, you won't unsee it. It's like everywhere you go, you're like, oh my God. So in Kate Northrup's book, Do Less, she also has a podcast and a planner. She's amazing. She talks about this principle specifically as it relates to work. And her concept of doing less literally means, what if we got rid of things that didn't matter and we got rid of the things that were taking up 80% of our time, but only getting 20% of our results? So go ahead and audit your offers and see where that lives right now. When you take a look at that, it's going to become clear as day what was the accidental shiny object syndrome that you put into your business. So when you figure that out, drop in the comments what that looks like and say my shiny object was. And what that'll do is that'll create some accountability from me to you. And you know, I'm in YouTube. It's me that's responding to everything. I'll get to see what that is. Or if you have a specific question, drop it in the comments and I'll actually get back to you and be able to help you out. That is going to be so freeing, because when you clear out some space, you automatically create space in the forest floor for new growth to happen. And I'm reading this book right now called The Creative Way. by Rick Rubin. And it's such an amazing read because for me, my backstory, by the way, is like I am an interior designer, commercial interior designer. I've had award winning projects. I had a career working with big companies for 13 years, like big skyrise buildings, hotels, did all this super cool stuff. And then I switched in the online space about 4 years ago doing brand strategy. And now I own a world class brand strategy agency and consultancy called Launch. That's where we take small businesses like yours and turn them into actual brands by using mission, vision, core values, tone of voice, messaging, positioning, and beautiful identity graphics, which is everything from logo, your colors, your fonts. Why should your website look the way that it does? How do we take the full package, like the exterior of how it looks and then the interior, much like a book? If you look at a book and you're like, wow, that cover is beautiful and the contents are even better, that is a winning brand right there. So that's how you're thinking of your business. So from that perspective, I've got that going on from the design realm. And then on the other side, I was a computer scientist for multiple years. So I know how to code. I was a programmer. That's where I started out. And that's when I got my bachelor's of science in. So I've got left and right brain that are working at the same time. But at the end of the day, it is the right brain that ends up doing all of the creative stuff. So whether you are a scientist or an artist, you're still going to need to be able to tap into your creative forces. What is your flow zone? And the way to get there is by subtraction. So whether it's marketing, whether it's branding, you're going to want to see where are the opportunities within what you're currently doing for your strategy to say, how do I utilize both brand and marketing, knowing that brand is going to create a very long-term, long client means client lifetime value, numbers, and revenue increase. It also means brand raving fans turn into brand evangelists so that they are spreading positive word of mouth by you without you ever spending advertising dollars. Isn't that amazing? Like your organic brand starts to pop off. People are inviting you to come speak. You're getting paid to be a keynote speaker at places that you couldn't even imagine even attending. That's when you know, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I get to actually like spread more of what my knowledge is, what my wisdom is, what my expertise is, my energy, my motivation, my story, so I can uplift other people. Marketing is necessary because that's where you use your advertisements, your email, your text campaign, so that you can say, hey, are you somebody who owns a red Tesla? Well, guess what? I've got the perfect product for you that's going to help you drive your red Tesla faster. I don't know, just making something up. But you get the point. It's a very direct response. Are you this type of person? This is what you need. Hey, are you looking to look hot this summer in your bikini? Here's the best bathing suit on the planet that has these cool strings that make your cleavage look awesome and tuck in your tummy. I've been getting advertisements about that all the time. And so they have found their market. They have found their buyer. And I swear, a couple more advertisements and I'm going to have one of those bathing suits that's got these cool strings that like pushes everything in and together. So that is what marketing is. It's advertising. It's direct campaign. It's asking the people who are already following you, are you X type of person or have X type of problem? Guess what? Here is your solution. Click here. Here's the button to buy. Boom. You're a customer or you're a client. There we go. So if you have found this useful, because I think that I train about branding versus marketing differently than any person that you've ever heard this before. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what your gem was, what your takeaway is. If you want me to make more content like this, I would love your ideas because I am a spontaneous speaker. Like the knowledge lives within my brain. I swear it's like a GPT in my brain here. Some of that is just, I swear, I feel like just given by source, given by God, whatever you want to say. So if you love it, let me know what you want us to talk about next. But what you can expect from our channel moving forward is we're going to have educational, really training like videos like this. So you can actually finally learn what does brand mean? And most importantly, how can you drive up your top line revenue or your bottom line profits? Signing off here, guys. Warrior Queen Bee. Take care.